Sammy?
It's over. It's over. And they went to Cape Fullerton. And we don't know when they're coming back. And Nathan didn't propose.
I know.
Oh, wait. No one eloped either. I win. Never mind.
Yeah, you win on that one. Unfortunately. Unless they elope in Cape Fullerton, then it's like then I'd be half right. There needs to be
Well,
an elopement.
like the title said, it must be gold. If no one's eloped, then it must be gold.
Okay, that's an interesting connection, but okay.
It's gonna be a golden wedding when it does happen.
Possibly.
Yes.
We do know when they're coming back. They are coming back next year in season 13.
Because we are keen on 13, baby.
Woo! That's the best news of all.
Is
Weeks is we are renewed. We are coming back.
the second best news would be he followed her. That would be second best.
They followed them.
Speaking of which, what were Allie's words?
Family sticks together.
Oh, you don't say.
I do say.
So I mean, if you're gonna call them a family like that, then shouldn't we make it official?
It's coming. I'm bound to be right one of these days.
You said they were going to elope.
I said they were going to get married. I hoped it was an elopement this season because if they got engaged, I knew it wouldn't happen till next season.
So you're gonna say you're right now, and then eventually you'll be right.
No, I'm not right. I'm just gonna if I keep saying the same thing, eventually it will be true one of these times. It doesn't make me right from the beginning. It just makes me right when it finally happens.
Oh, Hearties, this is my life, a life I'm blessed to have.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. And yes, they are. This is our life now, a life we're blessed to have. There was something about that first scene. She's saying those words in her head, and then she hears the two of them playing catch in the front yard. That pieced it all together for me. And having Nathan in that beautiful pink springtime long sleeve button down shirt and her and her flowers, it gave a happy, hopeful, dare I say, a grateful calm. And see, that's the whole thing. Yeah, I was kidding around at the beginning there when I was sobbing, because really and truly, we're renewed for season 13. They followed after them to Cape Fullerton. So I think all of the Hearties have a very grateful calm about them right now. We're not happy about the fact that it's over and we now have to wait, but small price to pay. Small price to pay for the fact that we're coming back now, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. And I liked the balance of, yes, there's a cliffhanger of sorts. There's something where you don't really know how it's going to play out, but you also know that it's playing out and that it's playing out well. We don't know the specifics of how long they'll be there, but they're together. They're working through challenges together. They have a plan for Jack's health. They have a support system there with Grandma Thornton. which I do, that was tough, but at the same time, it was good. It's still a good
Yeah.
connection. It shows that they've been connected, that they
Yeah.
have been talking all these years.
Uh-huh.
It sounds as if they've seen each other, that she's seen little Jack. They feel connected. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of a nice piece. And you're always gonna have that. You're always gonna have like family members, maybe not the grandparents, but there's always going to be family members who have suggestions for how you're doing things. There's always going to be kind of that push and pull. It does happen in real life, whether
Oh
it's
yeah.
family members, friends, just people that you meet. Everyone's going to have an opinion. And sometimes it is rather condescending. And sometimes it is really meant with an intent of just sharing information and making sure that you have the information to make good decisions. And it can be very hard to tell in text what someone's intention is behind those words. Sometimes things can come across differently in written words.
With Charlotte Thornton, you can't tell
You
either
can't
way.
tell anyway. And she always did come across sounding more condescending than her intention was in
It's
person too.
true.
And so you have to kind of think about that, like what is this person's personality?
Mm-hmm.
And as Rosemary said, she's not a snobby person, but she does kind of tell it like it is and want to share her information. And so,
Correction. Correction. A big city snob. She
well,
is
yeah, but
not.
any kind of snob. She's never been one to really force anything on anybody. She wants to kind of insert herself a little bit, but I can see that you've lost your child. This is their child. You don't see them all the time. Now they have what could be a fatal illness. You
Mm-hmm.
definitely would want to share information if you heard something that you thought could help. So
Very true.
understandable. And whether we see her or not in season 13, it opens the story to imply that she will be around little Jack for a while in
Mm-hmm.
a time of need, which just that warmed my heart to think about her being able to be with him and spend some time with him,
We've
especially
kept on saying that. We've kept on saying, where's Jack's side of the family? Why aren't they here? And then we saw Tom finally,
yeah,
and they even said this is the first time that he's visited the grave. And so, yeah, we're able to see all of that and to know that they are bringing in that side of the family.
yeah.
Okay, speaking of which, I have two questions of the day for you today.
Oh, oh boy. Okay.
Mm. Number one, who drove the car?
That is such a great question.
Who drove the car to bring Nathan and Allie to Little Jack and Elizabeth? I want to know.
I mean, so obviously we don't know. We may find out next season. Um, I would go with Lee first.
But the blue car is Henry's.
Couldn't tell in the dark what color it was. Are you
I
serious?
could. I saw the headlight or something. I can't remember how I saw, but I was looking and no, it wasn't the
Okay.
first time. No, it wasn't the first time.
Leave it to you to uncover something that they maybe didn't intend to imply at all. Because they were probably just like, well, this car works. That's fine. They probably only have a couple cars. And so one had to be the taxi. And so they had to it
But
absolutely could have
Henry's
been
car
Henry.
is the blue car.
It absolutely could have been Henry. It would have not been an issue to have had Henry drive them, but it seems like it would have taken longer to get Henry there in his car. Whereas
Agreed.
Lee and Rosemary live right there. The car is probably, I don't know where they park their cars. I mean, you
I've
never
seen
see
it parked in front. I've seen it
yeah,
not around back, but
kind of
just
off to the
close
side.
by. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that just seems like it would have been the closest vehicle and the fastest way to catch up to them would have
Unless
been.
Lee left his car at the sawmill.
Well, yes, I'm just saying, in theory.
No, but that's what I'm saying is at, if he left it at the sawmill, then Henry's car might be closer. We don't know where Henry lives
Yeah.
still.
That's my gut, is that it makes sense it would be Lee. Rosemary does know how to drive though, yes?
Yes, I've seen her drive.
Okay. So in that sense, it could have been her also,
Yeah.
especially with the erratic honking. I do feel that's a little bit more Rosemary. It definitely doesn't seem like Henry honking.
Well, Henry's gonna get people's attention when needed, so.
There is that. There is that. But yeah, I think Leah Rosemary is the most likely. They also could have been driving Henry. Anybody could have been driving Henry's car. He lets
Yep.
anybody drive it.
He really does now, especially nowadays. No,
Yeah.
but for all we know, Nathan was the one leaning over and doing the honking.
That actually would be funny.
Yes, it would. All right. Question number 2 of the day. Are they going to use Brooke Shields as Charlotte Thornton again? Or do you think we're going to have another situation when they're coming home and Elizabeth said to Lucas, mother made taffy, and they'd just gotten back from a
Talk
whole
about
month
just
there, and yeah.
just reference her. I think it's probably more likely that we end up just referencing her, but enough time has passed that it's definitely possible that Brooke would come back at this point, especially for a very tiny cameo. I know that she wasn't thrilled with some of her other roles on Hallmark.
Yeah.
Just, had left not really enjoying the direction that like her mystery series had gone. But she also has, personal connections. She knows several people that, work for Hallmark, and different management now, different people. She might think the time has come to make an appearance. Who knows? I think it'd be great to see her again. Again, even in a teeny tiny non-speaking role, it could just be like a montage at the beginning when we're getting Elizabeth recapping what's happened off screen. It could just show them playing together. It could be very simple. Um, it would be really sweet and really nice to have that. I also know that I think Brooke just got picked up for a new sitcom on another network, so she may be too busy. Who knows?
Conflicting schedules is a real beast in the industry. You get that phrase, scheduling conflicts, constantly.
It's very real and valid. I mean, you can want to do something, but if you can't get there.
That's an issue. All right, moving on. There's something that I want to address immediately, and that is, maybe I should call this episode this, Nathan's quotes. He had some great one-liners in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know how any one human could have the great lines this guy had without having a team of writers behind them, because this was chock full.
He had so many amazing one-liners that I just went, wow, Nathan's really rocking it this time around. So
Yeah.
here are, I probably didn't get all of them, but here are some of them.
Okay, combined all at once. Compiled. Let's get it.
I can think of a few things. Work will be there. We'll miss you, kid. It's not an official investigation. It actually worked. I'm a trained law enforcement officer, and we used a literal treasure map.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Of course, it's a treasure map with a secret message. And then there's a couple of our favorites. One breath, one heartbeat, and this grateful calm washed over me. But let's not forget we'll figure it out together. And the one that got repeated, where you go, I go.
Okay, so here's my question for you. Do you think that's going to become their phrase, like take a walk with me?
I thought that it was going to be, I didn't say yes, yeah, but you were gonna. I thought they were making that into their take a walk with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's along the same lines without being the same phrase, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Take a walk with me, where you go, I go. It's kind of the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, but
Without
without
being,
being the same words. So
yeah,
I'm totally on board with that. The fact that Nathan said it twice and Elizabeth said it once, yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like it. Oh, I forgot one. I forgot one,
which one?
which was I think if we've learned something from this whole ordeal, it's that you can lean on me a bit more. And then, but this is my favorite version of that one. Why don't you start by leaning on me on the dance floor?
Yeah.
So put that together with, I mean, he probably did it on purpose, but they're swinging around in a dance. It's fun. It's cute. The second that they're back in front of the camera, whoop, I was like, oh, you did that on purpose, Kevin McGarry. He heard me say how much of a sucker I am for the hand cradling, and so he totally did that on purpose.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it played out.
Completely. But I mean, I thought that I was finished, and then I still had more. That's a lot of one-liners.
It was a lot. And it just like, we've talked about this before, but Nathan really came out of his shell in 11 and 12, and
Mm,
especially in 12, because it just allowed him to be open with anybody. Like he was even in earlier seasons, he was close with Allie, but he was like having trouble kind of opening up to her in some ways because she was younger and like becoming older, and that whole conflict of how much do you open up to a child, as they're getting
exactly.
older, how much do you tell them about difficult subjects, and so to have anyone that he fully trusts and fully can open up to has just given him this peace in himself where he can fully be himself, it seems.
I agree. Absolutely 100%. This is going to sound so corny, so everybody prepare yourself, but it's amazing what the love of the person you love can do for you as a person.
Yeah.
Because look at what being in love with Elizabeth, not unrequited in love, but being in love, look at what that did for him. I
Yeah.
mean, it's incredible. It's amazing what this time, I mean, we saw it in the season finale of season 11. Like, wow, that shell popped open right there, sir. But yeah, he's only gotten more comfortable, and we've only seen more evidence of him becoming comfortable with a lot of people and a
Yeah.
lot of situations, and not crawling back into a shell, not retreating, but becoming more and more mature emotionally. And just, yeah,
Well, the way you phrase that, they're comfortable with himself.
that too.
Like that, we've talked about the confidence piece, but I think it's almost a slightly different part of the spectrum on that is
Yeah,
the comfortable with who you are, happy with who you are. happy with what you have in life, happy with where you're going, happy with, and in the end of that episode, happy even not knowing what's coming next. Like,
Shall we say a
he's
grateful
potentially
calm?
he's potentially risking his career, he's potentially losing his home, he's potentially losing this community where they, they're not gonna, we know that, but
They don't know that.
they don't know that. They don't know if this could be taking a leap, not knowing where you're going to land, not knowing what's going to happen next. All they know is they're together, and he's happy with that.
And you could tell that he was completely calm about the situation. He wasn't,
This was
doing
not
any
like,
of this.
yeah, this was not a question of should we do this. This was just, oh, we're doing this.
And
I
we'll
would have
figure it out
loved,
together.
yeah, and I would have loved, I know why they didn't film it that way because story-wise it didn't work, but I would have loved to have seen that interaction of him and Allie making that decision.
Oh, I know. Me too.
Like, it wouldn't have made sense because you want that like uncertainty. Are they coming or are they not?
Yeah.
But it would have been really cool to just see the way they were like, we're going, right? Like Allie being like, so what are you waiting for? Like we're following them, right?
Or the other way around. Nathan going, Allie, this is crazy, but will you go with me to Cape Fullerton so that we can be with them? And her either going, Dad, wow, or absolutely, let's go. I mean, there were 100 different ways that they could have reacted, but
what I hope it was something along the lines of him starting to ask and her going, I've already got our bags packed.
yes. That would have been brilliant. Okay, since we're saying what we would have loved to see, you know what I'm gonna say. I already told you, but I gotta say it for the record. I want it and I love you. She said it.
Oh goodness. It's okay though.
You go, I go, because I love you.
I know.
It would have fit. I mean, and because he didn't say I love you when she said it, I was okay-ish with that. But because he didn't say it at that point, I thought that she deserved to hear it in a very stressful point in time when she's getting a huge shock. Okay, I've said it.
Oh,
Okay.
let's see. I don't know what you've got on your agenda here for today, but I think we should talk about Rosemary really quick, just in the context of this storyline.
That's what I was gonna do.
Okay, we know what she's been through. We know she's been through the ringer in terms of opportunities to leave the town and where we want to live and where we want to raise our child and all of that. She's had many
let's not forget the ordeal at the very, very beginning when she was chasing after a different man.
She's had a lot going on, but she has truly found her place in Hope Valley. She really knows that's where she belongs, very similar to Elizabeth with just how certain they are of their life and the path that their lives were on. And remember back in season 10 when there was the possibility of Elizabeth leaving with Lucas to go to Capital City, and that impact that had on Rosemary of like, my best friend's going to be leaving, not to mention that she could kind of tell that wasn't where her heart was. But obviously that's the biggest difference between then and now, and how Rosemary was reacting in this situation. She knows this actually is what needs to happen at this moment. Having that conversation early in the episode, Elizabeth and Rosemary talking about Charlotte's letter and what how Elizabeth felt about, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right choices? Rosemary has just been so supportive and so constant with her. And you can see that it's like a struggle because it's also conflicting with what she would prefer to happen, which is for them to stay here.
Her face when they left in the taxi, I was so glad that they stayed on her for a second because oh my gosh, that poor woman.
I mean, everything she's taking on, she's helping to find Nathan. She's figuring out the train schedule. She's getting a taxi. She's taking care of all the things so that Elizabeth can sit there on the porch writing a letter and not have to worry about anything else. It's like just
that. And she's entrusted with the letter too,
which, again, which she passed off, which I found funny. But it was just so amazing to see her work through what had to happen in this emergency situation
mm-hmm.
and hold all of that inside. And they just I was having flashbacks to, I know she didn't do anything then, but season 4 when Jack left and seeing the turmoil that Rosemary was going through with that, worried about Elizabeth, worried about Jack, worried about the town, and kind of putting that into her own viewpoint of how this affects me, but I acknowledging that it's not about me, it's about them. They're the ones going through this. And just I was just seeing that same look on her face basically as when she was sitting there in the candlelight with Lee, worried about what was going to happen then. And it was almost it had meaning for me that she was able to do that by herself this time. She was strong enough now to be handling all of this and jumping in and being that support system, while I assume Lee is home with Goldie.
Yep.
And taking care of that so that she can focus on her friend and be a friend and take care of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I also loved that during the conversation about Charlotte's letter earlier, she's holding Goldie.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a great opportunity to make it seem like a more realistic mothering moment. Whereas most of the time on shows like this, you just magically, your child's not there and you're able to take care of everything that needs to happen. But in this situation, she was able to do that, but she was still interacting with Goldie. She was still talking to her and making faces at her and doing mothering stuff while still staying engaged with her friend. And it was so realistic and nice.
How many times have you and I had to do that exact kind of thing?
It's just life. And it's so often, unfortunately, not reflected on TV because it's hard to get the scene accomplished, A, with child actors, and B, if you don't have to, why are you paying another actor to be there on set?
Right.
I get it. And it's distracting, and then it takes more takes maybe, and it can maybe take away the focal point from the drama of a scene. But this was the perfect scene because they were talking about mothering. They were talking about,
that's what I was gonna say. Yes,
that internal struggle of doing the right thing, and here you're having to also juggle this tough conversation with actual parenting.
Yep.
I just loved that.
I had a thought watching that scene again because that adorable little Goldie was looking straight at Elizabeth. And I imagined Erin when the camera was at her back doing faces at her to keep her entertained while Pascal said her lines to make it easier. Not easier to act, but easier to get her lines out.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. There is one more thing that I want to say about this situation, and then we'll actually talk about something else. Um, Minnie
Mm,
bringing the food that she got up and made. We don't know how late it is, but it's late. Everybody's settled for the night, and she just heard, we don't know how, probably Rosemary knocking on her door or calling her up or something, but she immediately thought they need food, and she packed them food.
well, she also said all the men are out looking
All
for
the
Nathan.
men. So they got everybody involved looking for Nathan. Yep.
Yeah.
And then mm, I started crying every time I watched this scene. The miracle isn't that someday it all goes away. The miracle is that you can handle it. All of us have had a situation where we have felt like we had something we couldn't handle. And that's the miracle, is that we get out on the other side. And then when she said, "Why, God, did you give me your strongest battles?" It's because you are his strongest soldier. It reminded me of Return to Me. It's the character that's the strongest that God gives the most challenges to. Now you can take that as a compliment.
Oh, I gotta watch that again. Oh,
Yes, you do.
I haven't seen, oh, I haven't seen that in years. That was my favorite.
I know.
Um,
And but just
but
mm,
yeah, but then saying, I don't want to be.
yeah, putting that realism in. I don't want to be, but for my son, I'll do anything. Obviously, she didn't say that, but
Yeah.
it was it was very much implied, obviously, because she's going to Kate Fullerton. And then in her letter to Nathan, I would never ask you to uproot your life or Allie's. But not only is he in love with her, he loves that little boy.
Mhm.
And Allie loves them both. Still haven't heard her call her Elizabeth, but that's okay. They all truly love each other. And the two of them don't want the two of them to be alone. And
Well, and even I loved how little Jack asked who was going
who's
because
going?
there are moments when you just like we've talked about, like it almost seems abnormal the scenes when Elizabeth's alone with little Jack because they're together, they're just kind of together as a family most of the time.
Yeah.
And so to go from, that conversation back at the end of last season with him like, oh, you guys are boring and like, why do you want to spend time together? And, we haven't seen a more direct conversation
No.
with him about, them being in love or them dating, but they are not hiding it.
No.
They were hiding the kisses from him originally, but now they're walking hand in hand. He has his arm around her. He's, they're holding hands all the time. They're over for dinner all the time. I think he's probably figured it out. If
I
they
think he's
haven't had,
caught on.
he still probably knows. But he knew in that moment that that was a possibility. Are they coming? They're part of us.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of we are going, And so I love that that was a question that he indirectly asked.
And it was such a small thing, but I loved it so much. The fact that Nathan just walked in her door. He didn't knock and then open the door. He didn't bang on the door. He just got off his horse and went into her house. Elizabeth, just walked in looking for her, because that's the comfort level. We talked about the comfort level with the fever and with the diabetes when they were first working through it all together. And now look at this. He rides in, he jumps off of Newton, runs in the door automatically.
Yeah. And I mean, it's an emergency. That's
It is
just
an emergency.
That's the smart thing to do. But yes, he didn't seem concerned by it.
Well, and can we also mention, I mean, we got to mention this, the total Cinderella and Prince Charming kiss from the back of the car window. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, I need to do a reel or a meme or something. I need to put that into being.
I do wonder if when filming, if they didn't know they had the renewal. And they were like, this is, because it would have been a satisfying ending if we had been forced to have that.
Yes.
It would have been a doable ending because there was enough hope, there was enough happiness, there was enough togetherness, and the way they ended that scene was beautiful. So it almost felt like maybe they were just like hedging their bets there.
Maybe, but I think everybody is observant enough that they know that the Hearties want more. This is not going down in ratings.
No. But sometimes you just don't know, and especially with changes in, who's running the network and things like that. They could have been uncertain this year.
Okay. We promised we would talk about other things.
Talk about a few other things.
So, Nathan's other one-liner, it's a one-worder that that he says, yeah.
I was going to say, in addition to his one-liners, I loved his expressions in this episode. Namely, his fathering expressions. Okay.
The eyebrow furrowing.
At the presentations at the beginning. Yes. Okay. I also have to draw attention to Lucas's expression during that scene, because that actually cracked me up even more, because he did this thing where he was fully engrossed in what Oliver was saying, and he did the side eye to Nathan. Like, uh-oh. It was so obvious that Lucas was concerned for what Nathan might say or do in that moment. And that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Him loving their growing trust of each other.
And don't forget that they carried the box to the jail together. It was the two of them. And there was no side eye to each other. It was like, okay, we picked this up, we carry it, we put it down.
But I also, before there was ever anything between them of a rivalry for Elizabeth, there was an interesting dynamic. There was an interesting dynamic between them at first with Allie, because he had taught her the card thing. And so I just found it very interesting, because this is all another thing with Allie, where I think he already, and then he's gone through all of this with Allie this season with the cattle and everything. And he's been very respectful and wanting to involve her and invite her to meetings and really I really enjoyed that dynamic, which hasn't really been.
Don't forget calling her Miss Grant.
Yes.
And saying she is my guest.
Yes.
Or she's here at my invitation.
Yeah. And so in that moment, I just loved his look to Nathan. I thought that was fabulous. But yes, Nathan's expression during that scene, and then his expression later, and even just when he was talking with Elizabeth, Do you think that Elizabeth she already suspected that Allie might have feelings back, or do you think she was maybe just placating him in that moment of like, yeah, yeah, and then we'll just see how it plays out?
I think she was. Because she's smart and Allie also talks to her. And she's also not blind. She has seen the two of them interacting at school. I don't think that Nathan has seen that as much.
True. And I mean,
So
yeah, I find it hilarious that he was not suspicious until now. But
he automatically said, oh, he's torching his career so that he can stay here and moon over Allie. I was like, oh man, no bones about it with dad here.
yeah, but I loved how she handled it, how Elizabeth handled it, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of, which was a struggle for her because she was projecting her own issues onto the situation as well. Mm-hmm. But kind of doing, giving that information about like their friends, that's better. Whether that was laying the foundation for him to be like, okay, yeah, they're just friends, but then later be like, okay, now they're okay, but being friends first is better. Okay, like it's a good angle for him to slowly maybe accept it. But also there is a difference. There is a major difference in the parallels of their situations that I see why Elizabeth went there, but it's very different to torch your career for a crush versus help your family through a traumatic situation with a woman you've been dating for nearly like several months with this time jump. Like
it's several months now.
Yeah, so I mean it's kind of heading up on a year really of actual dating and years building up to that as well.
Well, so, and they were friends first.
And they were friends first.
They were kind of forced to become friends first, but they were friends first.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, that I would love to see that continue. I am thrilled with the way the whole situation with Oliver worked out.
Yes.
That
and was who called it? Who called it? Who called the deputy? Oh yeah.
You got that one. You got that one fully.
I got the deputy.
I'm a little concerned that he said that he put a year mark on it. I wish he'd left that open. You could still have next year thrown in something like, oh, at the end of the year, we have to like do a review or something and they might need to transfer you. Like you could always throw it in later, but it really did kind of be like, oh, now we only have one more year. We got to come up with another reason to keep him.
We don't know that yet.
And I loved Elizabeth's little trick there too to get him to open up.
The A+ on the final exam. Oh, brilliant.
That was
really brilliant. Because that's the kind of trick you have to play on a moonstruck boy and on a boy who does not want to become an adult yet. Which you can't blame him. You cannot blame him for that. And speaking of growing up.
Oh, I know where you're going now.
Yes. Okay, well, number one, Timmy finally said something to Emily. Thank you.
Sweet.
It was. I wanted more, but we didn't have time for it.
Yeah. Now, have we heard anything about what he's doing?
No.
Okay, so hopefully they're both still on the show next year too.
Yeah, we have not heard anything about what Timmy is doing. We just know about the girls, and he's the only other graduate. So that's going to be interesting. Is he just going to be talked about, or is he going to be on the show as Emily's boyfriend? We just don't know. It will be interesting to see. But the quilt.
Okay.
How thoughtful is that?
Wickham can do everything.
Oh my gosh.
That man has every talent that there is.
Okay, we've got Minnie, May, Molly. Are you sensing a pattern here?
M's, and they're all female.
And then you throw in Florence and Elizabeth. You know,
actually not Minnie. You said Minnie. She wasn't a part of it, but
no, but she was in the group. That's what I'm talking about. She was in the group. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women and a man.
I think Faith was doing it too, though. I think Faith was the other one. She just wasn't there when they presented
Oh
it.
yeah, she wasn't there when they presented it. So okay, we have one more F name. But embroidered braille, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very, very cool.
But
and it was beautiful.
The 6 things about Angela that all mean something to her in different textures so that she can feel it. We've got the Hope Valley and embroidered braille. We've got the strawberry rhubarb pie. We've got the ukulele. We've got the church/school because they both mean something to her in both senses. And then we got the bicycle, which I thought was adorable. And then something we didn't really know anything about, a dog. So I guess a dog is her favorite animal.
Well, and it kind of looked a little bit like Scout too. So she might spend, being such a good friend with Allie, she might spend a lot of time with him.
That is possible. Yes, absolutely. So Angela and Minnie are going to be well taken care of next year.
Yeah.
We can't have a finale episode without talking about the ranch is where wishes come true.
Right. It was pretty great this year that we really got to delve into all of this mystery stuff.
It's pretty cool.
Really
but I'm going to go past that mystery for just a second and say, you could always fire me. You're fired. At least for the duration of a dance. I'm like, oh!
So sweet. I also love that they set her up as now pretty much living in Hope Valley.
And a part of his legal counsel.
The lead, I believe.
The lead, yes.
She is the principal legal counsel now for the governor. So not only is she now practicing out of Hope Valley and looking for her own law office to open up, but she is on again, off again, principal legal counsel, and in the off period, dancing with him. So, I think we've got a lot. I think we've got a lot to look forward to with Evie next season.
And she can now say that the governor helped her discover buried treasure. Okay, that part was cool.
That was really cool. And they really tied it up well. They had enough things that they brought in from previous episodes to make it make sense without while also having new information, so it wasn't something we could have figured out earlier. Right. It really was written well in the mystery standpoint.
And the fact that the coin fit the well on the map, oh, brilliant.
The secret message in lemon juice?
National treasure on us.
I know. That was so great. It was so great.
It's National Valley now.
Yeah, no, I loved how they did it. I loved how they really found a way to make it personal while that money is what got her through law school.
Yes. But
also that she's going to have a finder's fee for finding it. So that will help her to be able to pay off the debt. So there is no legal ramifications against her. Like there's just so many nice loose ends tied up. It was really lovely.
And it brought the two of them closer together in another way. There have been so many opportunities for the two of them to first get to know each other better and then to become closer. I am so excited for what the future holds for Lucas and Edie because I think they go so well together. They're both so whip smart. They both because they have morals. They've been trodden down. And I just think that in season 13, we're going to see them rise together some way, somehow.
Yeah. So sweet. So sweet.
Well, this wraps it up for this episode, but don't worry, Hearties. We're coming back with a full season overview. We'll be taking a closer look at season 12 as a whole. And, you know, after this conversation, I've got a few reels slash memes slash gifs to make. So, you know. And also, I should probably tell you this. There are a couple of videos that we recorded, but were never able to publish. So we've got a couple of those that are coming in the off season. So until next time, whatever you are doing today, whether you be in the morning, afternoon, or evening, make it a great one. Remember, you are valued, you are important, and we love you. See, I'm not afraid to say it.
Oh boy. And on that note, have a great day, Hearties. Bye.